y'all. It is week 1 of Seek, Gather, Create for August of 2023. If you don't know about Seek, Gather, Create, I'm going to explain it real quick and some of my thinking, and then we'll get to the actual project, which, okay. So Seek, Gather, Create is a mixed media scavenger hunt challenge that comes from Lisa Goddard Art, Tina Hoyce Art, Laura D. Dennison, and Melanie at Mixed Media Magpie. I will have all of their links below. They put out prompts each Sunday. It's going to be 4 prompts each Sunday. You create with all 4 of those prompts on any media to create any kind of media project, some kind of mixed media project, and then you post it and use the hashtag Seek, Gather, Create. They also have some sponsors with prizes and all kinds of stuff, but you'll need to go check out one of their something. You'll have to go check out one of their posts to learn more about it. There's a graphic about it, and you can scroll through and see about who the sponsors are and how to enter, I think. So this week, week 1, the prompts are wildflowers, raindrops, fish, and a bear. Y'all, whoo. Okay, wildflowers, raindrops, not so big. So, wildflowers, I went and gathered things. One of the first thing I thought of were these watercolor flowers I have created many, many times over and cut up and put in my stash. And so I thought about these, and they're great. And I may use them, possibly. So, and I have a reel. I may link to that reel too, where I am freaking out about this, but I'm kind of still doing that. So I've got that. I also have this tin, as you can see, has flowers all over it. I picked up this Thinlits die the other day. It is actually called Wildflower Stems, so I may use it. And I also have this stencil that has flowers on it. So those are my thoughts on flowers or wildflowers. Raindrops, I have another couple stencils. These 2, this one is my go-to, and it's probably the one I'll use, but I have this one that I also made that's kind of raindroppy. I did have some in my reel. I showed that I had some beads out. I probably will not use those, so I'm not even going to talk about those. For fish, what did I get out for fish? Okay, so I have this little toy of some kind that has fish on it, and I have a sticker page that's got different fish and jellyfish and mammals and stuff on it. And then I have this dictionary page with a fish on it. And then a bear. Ooh, y'all, that's the one I really think is rattling my brain. So I have this tin, and it's got a little teddy bear on it, and I've got a magazine cut out with some teddy bears. And what else did I have with bear? Oh, I've got another dictionary page that's got panda bear. Where are they? Panda bears. So a red panda and a regular, black and white panda. So I started thinking on this for a little bit, and I've been kind of freaking out about it. What do I do that incorporates these things? And the more I thought about it, the more I realized, especially with the wildflower, that all of these things are kind of wild. That bears are wild, fish are wild, wildflowers, and that rain can be wild and crazy. They're all found in the wild, outside, in nature. So that kind of helps me. Oh, I also had this with bears on it, some Japanese washi tape. So I went and found a quote from Thoreau that says, in short, all good things are wild and free. And I kind of want to make a little assemblage. I decided when I first heard they were going to do Seek, Gather, Create this month, I decided I really wanted to do some more assemblage projects, because I haven't lately, and I love doing them. So I'm just going to do this little box. This is, I believe, from Michael's, from their dollar area. So because I'm limited in my bears and fish and what I can do, I pulled out a couple more dictionary pages that has just a fish. This has got a, I think a grizzly bear and then a black bear, so that I have some other options. But I think I also want to use these and these, maybe. So not the tins, and maybe not the flower stencils, definitely not this fish, probably not the stickers or the washi, and probably not the little bear cut out, but these other dictionary pages, and probably this, maybe not this. So I have narrowed it down. I think that still keeps me with one of everything at least. And I'm going to get to it and kind of go with this. So I'm going to be thinking on this for just a second, and I'll be back momentarily. All right, y'all, I was indeed freaking out. So the first thing I wanted to focus on were those die cuts. So I decided what I was going to do was stencil basically onto my dictionary pages. So I start by cutting out one fish and one bear, and I'm going to I'm going to cut out all the fish and all the bear. And for some reason, I decided to make this two-sided. It was completely unnecessary and used all of my things, but I kind of wanted to have options once I cut the die cuts out. So if one side turned out better than the other, I would have options. So it was a little overkill, and in doing this, I used up like all of my dictionary pages and didn't leave myself any extras if something didn't work out. So I just kind of went for it. I dove into this and was like, let's see what happens. So to glue these down, I immediately grabbed some Mod Podge gloss. I don't know why. I think it was just in reach. I wanted to use something a little more secure than my glue stick. So yeah, I grabbed the Mod Podge, and I'm trying to make sure I keep the Mod Podge just on the back of the papers and not on the front, because sometimes when you get media on the front of something, it can act like a resist, and I kind of didn't want that to happen since I wasn't sure exactly where I was going with all of this. So you can see on one side I've got my fish, on the other side I've got my bear. I'm gonna finish up gluing these in a couple places, and I'm gluing these onto just some cardstock. I wanted to thicken these up so I would have, when I cut the dies, they would be more substantial and not so floppy, since I wasn't, again, quite sure what I was going to do with them. So once I get it all glued down, I decide to pull out some paints. I've got a yellow, a peachy, an orange. I was kind of going with most of those watercolored flowers I had were pink, and I wanted something besides pink. I wanted maybe some other colors. I had pinks and purples, and I was like, well, what's other side of the spectrum, or what's different from that? So I was like, oranges and yellows. So that's why I chose the oranges and yellows. And I've got a cosmetic sponge thing, and I'm going to just put down some stenciling with my Raindrops stencil. Now, I wish I could tell you where I think it may be a Crafter's Workshop stencil. I'm not sure. I'll try to take a better look at it and see if I can find a number or something for you. But I'm mixing all of those paints together. I'm going to bring in some fluorescent pink here in a minute, and on the other side I bring in some white, but I'm not going to show y'all me stenciling both sides of this because it doesn't really matter. And see, for some reason I did this one upside down. I should have kept them in this. I don't know. So I'm just getting some stenciling. The colors were getting a bit same. I was trying to get some differences in here, and that's why I end up bringing this like fluorescent pink in here in just a second. I don't know why that took me so long. But this is just a Martha Stewart. I don't know what the color is. It doesn't really matter. It was just something to give a bit of variation in the color on here. So once I pull my stencil off, I will dry these a little bit. And like I said, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Glue down my dictionary pages and then stencil on top of it. So I will skip ahead and you'll get to see. So I'm pulling my dies out. I'm like, yep, I'm going to use those. But first, because I use what is it? It's a Sizzix Big Kick, I think. I'm going to cut these down so that they will fit in there better. And I'm trying to decide which sides I like better, which has more variation. Yeah, all of that. And then I pull out these Thinlit dies and start picking out which ones are going to go where. Now, I tried to make sure that the two flowers that had more full heads on them went over like the images of the bear and the images of the fish on there. So I took it to my die cut machine, rolled it through so these come out just like this. I'm popping them out. Again, having it on that cardstock, I did pass it through twice on my machine to make sure the cuts were clear through. Now these are stuck inside the little metal pieces, so I will have to grab a little pokey tool. The one I'm using, I mean, there's one from Tim Holtz I have, but the ones I'm going to use are just from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to let you see me. I'm peeling up what I can, but then I will use the little pokey tool to go in the holes on the back and just release the paper cuts. So, and I'm going to do that on all 4 of these, but I will not make you watch all of that. I just kind of want you to see my process. Now, I do have to say that with these 4 flowers have all 4 of the prompts on there. They are wildflowers. They have raindrops on there. There's fish and bears on them. So I'm gonna try to make sure that I use at least 2, and the 2 that I use have a fish and a bear, but I'll end up using all 4. So there's fish and bear on all of them. I mean, on it. I thought for a minute I was actually going to use those negative pieces. And I played with that for a really long time. But yeah, I kind of just was like, never mind. I'll play with those later. So I've got them off on the side. And for now, I'm going to turn to my box. And I'm sanding it a little bit. This is just a sanding block from the Dollar Tree. I'm using it on the finest thing and just trying to make sure I get anything loose off and that there's nothing sharp. So I don't know. It didn't take long to do this. I guess that's why I didn't cut this out. Once I get all that done, I'm going to come back in with an antiquing wax. This is, I don't even know what brand it is. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. They all work about the same. I'm using that same cosmetic sponge. I just cut down the part that had paint on it, and I'm using it to spread the antiquing wax over the whole of my frame. So I'm gonna cut ahead because you don't need to see me add antiquing wax. Once I added the antiquing wax, I did take a dry paper towel and rub off any excess. So that's the extent of that. So I'm just covering all the areas. I'm being thorough. So I'm like doing all the outside and then all the front side, and then I'll do all the inside, and then I'll do the back. So that's all done. Once it was done, I played around with things. I typed up that little quote that I had on my typewriter, and I even used one of the margins of one of the dictionary pages so that the paper was kind of the same. And so I thought this was going to be my layout, and for the most part I hadn't cut anything down, and so I'm kind of just making sure I tore that down to make sure it would fit in there and the gaps, the open space that I had in there. And I'm going to play with this some more, looking at it, trying to decide if it is what I want, how much space I wanted in there. I'm also trying to make sure that I didn't put like the 2 bear flowers together and the 2 because the colors were too much the same. So I kind of overthought this. At that point, I decided I think that I didn't need those other flowers, those watercolor flowers, that maybe I would just keep it simple and stop trying to overthink this and just use the flowers that I die cut, because that's all I needed. I am going to keep that quote. I did ink up the edges with some Distress ink and walnut stain. And then I thought for a minute about how I was going to glue those in there. You can see kind of in that bottom right, I have pulled out some tacky glue. I'm not going to use the tacky glue. We'll jump ahead in a second. So I'm putting these in there. I kind of wanted them to be lifted from the back, but because these are also spindly, it was going to be really hard to cut down like some pop tape or anything that would hide behind these. So yeah, that's not going to happen either. So I'm cutting these all down so they fit in the way I want. Y'all, those scissors with the purple handle, they are about to go away. I think they are. They have just about had it. I've used them too many times on things with glue on them, and they are not cutting so great. So, all right. And for some reason, I didn't think I was going to use this one. I had it in my head that this one I was suddenly adding, but it's the one that you can see the bear most clearly on. The one next to it has the fish, and you'll see in my pictures at the end I've marked them. Okay, so I hadn't decided yet about the flowers. I was still like, okay, and then I'll add the flowers like this. And I was like, they really clash. I don't know. Maybe I can put them on the... So I was trying to figure out if some of the extra things I had would go, and moving this around and futzing. And I was like, what's wrong with this? There's nothing wrong with this. This is So you can see I'm like, yes, no, yes, no. And I'm like, just start gluing things up. So I've got that aliens in my hand, and I put it up, and I decided I'm just going to use that same glossy Mod Podge because I can stick right into it and go over all of this. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm using a foam brush. You can see I've sped this up quite a bit because I wanted you to see the whole process, but it's kind of painstaking. In that I'm putting glue in my box, spreading it. I'm using the foam brush to so I don't get like a lot of brush strokes or anything. There's still going to be some strokes in it, but it's not going to be as like brush strokey as a paintbrush would be. So as you can see, I'm putting the glue in and then sticking my little flowers on top, and then kind of mushing and smushing and moving that foam brush around. See, that one moved, and I'm just trying to like get it done at this point. I was like, I have overthought this to death. So yeah, I just wanted to get it done. And I hope that this is okay for using these prompts, because the fish and the bear were really giving me like the Bass Pro Shop vibes or like hunter vibes. And I needed something that wasn't so, I wanted it outdoors, but not like, I don't know, woodsman, I guess. Alright, so now I am sticking that down, and I walked away for about half an hour while I did coat all of the inside, even the side edges with that glossy Mod Podge. And I walked away for half an hour so that the glue could dry, because it will dry clear but glossy. And when I came back, it was perfect. So, make sure you go check out all the hosts, how you can participate so you can get in on that giveaway. I'll have the links to their Instagram so that you can play along below. And let me know if you have any questions about this. And y'all, sometimes it doesn't pay to overthink it. Keep it simple. Keep it simple, and it will be beautiful. All right. I hope you got inspired, and I will see y'all later. Thanks for watching. Bye.